Hey, everyone, I want to welcome you once again to the Tampa Business and Real Estate Professionals Network, where we are meeting people within our network, meeting entrepreneurs, learning about them, learning about their business. I want to welcome Zev Rabinovich Randall. Is that pronounced correctly? Randone.
Randone. Randone. Yep. You
Zev
gotta have Yep.
Randone. Okay.
Yep. There you go. Yep. You gotta have the Italian.
I
Yep.
got the Italian part. And
Yeah.
your own Pacht, who are these guys run Centiv, and what they do is cost segregation studies. If you've never heard of a cost segregation study in the real estate investor world, it is very important. It's great for tax savings. So I'm going to let Zev and Randone or Yaron take this away, and you guys tell us about Centiv. Tell us about your company and what you guys do.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, you're the head of business development, so
Yeah, sure. Centiv, basically the way it was founded is our partner, Bobby, he worked at PwC for about a decade and he specialized in cost segregation. This is all he did. He did the cost segregation for the Atlanta Falcons when they built their new stadium, for the Carolina Panthers, when Porsche, moved their manufacturing plants out to the US, he did it for them. So he did a lot of these big portfolio clients. And after a while, he actually got moved by PwC out to Denver to run a team. This was about 2018. He had been doing it, like I said, for about a decade at that point. He decided, I'm getting pretty good at this, and why am I still working with PwC when I can, do this myself, build my own business, and provide this value not just to the big boys, but to everybody that deserves to have access to these types of services. As Gary pointed out, this is such a useful thing for anybody who's building wealth with real estate. So, he was passionate about that, and he broke off and started Centiv. About 3-ish or so years ago, I met Bobby, and he was building the company. It was starting to take off a bit, but he needed somebody to help him grow it. So he brought me on, and then we brought Zev on shortly after, and we've been kind of going ever since. So that's kind of the story of how Centiv came to be.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, what we've been doing since is we definitely do work with some larger clients still, like Choice Hotels, the Weather Channel, Kimpton Hotels and Restaurant. Those are some of our larger clients. But for the most part, I'd say 60 to 70% of our business is actually people like you and me. We don't necessarily have hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate, but we're building wealth, and we're trying to get these strategies out there to help others build wealth and use what the tools available to give everybody an opportunity.
Nice, nice. Now, for those in our community who don't know what cost segregation is, Zev, you want to tell us, just sort of explain the process. What is cost segregation and how does it help someone?
Sure. Yeah, no, I can definitely jump into that. So, the best way of putting cost segregation is it's a means of reducing your tax liability on your income producing real estate. So, essentially, what we're doing here is we go into a property and we're reclassifying how it's depreciated. As many people probably know, a property is either depreciated over 27 and a half years or 39 years, depending on whether it's residential or commercial. And what the cost segregation allows us to do is we're allowed to take larger chunks of that depreciation in like the earlier years of ownership. So you'll still take depreciation, over 27 and a half or 39 years. But, for example, like let's say, you have $1 million, you would take over that, time period. All of a sudden we can take, we can get you 100,000 that you could potentially take in year one, right? And then you still write that other 900,000 off over, the next 27 half or 39 years.
Nice, nice. Now, what is depreciation do?
What does depreciation do? So, depreciation.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean,
So,
not everyone's going to understand what depreciation is. So I want
sure.
to help our listeners understand.
Yeah, no, of course. So, depreciation is essentially like let's say for example, like your flooring, right? Like it's got like an assigned value, right? And so the IRS is going to allow you to write off that assigned value over, that specific amount of, or over, an amount of time. So,
Okay.
and that allows Yeah, and that's how you get those write-offs. Yep.
So it's similar to a business that uses equipment. They can depreciate their equipment over time.
Yeah.
Same thing with a building. You can depreciate a building over time. That's simply that's the equipment of a real estate business. And you help them
exactly.
to depreciate greater chunks of it earlier in the time period faster, so that creates a better cash flow for them as far as their tax.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'll give you a quick case study, as we call it, just so that people can get a better idea of what we mean by that. So a specific study would be, we had a client here in Colorado in the mountains. They bought a property that they turned into an Airbnb that they're renting out, 7 or 8 days at a time for people going skiing and such. They bought the property for about $1 million, and without doing a cost segregation study, they'd be able to depreciate and write off approximately $20,000 a year against their income.
Mm-hmm.
We did the cost segregation study for them, and because of that, they had $300,000 in depreciation available to them immediately, instead of a little bit of that, instead of that $20,000 a year over a 27 and a half or 39-year period. Essentially, what that allows them to do then is, until they make that $300,000 of income, they're not going to pay any taxes.
Right.
And so that's, as you stated, that's how it improves their cash flow, because all that money that you would have given to the government, that gets to stay in your pocket, and then you can use that to either reinvest into other real estate or invest in honestly, you could use it for whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're in a value add stage for like a multifamily or something like that, it really helps you with the cash flow in the first couple of years, because you're taking all of that money and pumping it back in to do your renovations.
Absolutely.
And fix things up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
That's
it really
very
helps increase the value of the property quickly, which is important for investors, because it's cash flow and equity,
Definitely.
and that's what you need. So excellent. Well, tell me, what do you
100%.
guys enjoy most about the profession?
I mean, I'll jump in there first. It's that we're able to bring these services to, folks who may not know about it, right? There's a lot of people that I personally met, within the investment community that, either didn't know about this or thought it was only for, larger properties, kind of like we were speaking about before, those, major, sports stadiums. And so being able to educate and, introduce people to this, and, it really helps people grow their wealth, and it's very exciting.
Nice.
Yeah, I can double.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, essentially, I love educating people. On my financial journey, learning about these services, I've always heard growing up, the wealthy, they don't pay taxes, and I always wondered what that meant. And this is one of those ways. And so, yeah, like Zev said, being able to educate people and drive people towards their goals, that is super exciting to me personally.
Yeah.
Great. Excellent. So what separates Centiv from the competition, all the other people that are doing this?
Sure.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd say there's three main things. There's multiple things, but three main things that I think stand out above the rest. On average, we generally produce 10 to 15% more in benefit than other companies out there that do cost segregation. Another thing that definitely has us stand out is that I think it's a standard in the industry, is that it's kind of like a pump and dump mentality where, hey, come in, we'll do your cost segregation, go out, never talk to you again kind of situation. That's not the way we operate. We operate more as a little bit of a boutique. We're trying to build a relationship with these people and help them build wealth and use our services in the long term. And so there really is a care and building a relationship and helping people, not just from a service side, but from a consulting side, so they understand what we do and how that builds into their overall plan in terms of investing and building growth. On a third note, I think having the expertise of coming from PwC, all of our tax staff, we have a couple of people that work on the operations side. They all come from PwC, so they all have worked on this on the highest level. And so there's a level of understanding that I think we have that you won't find in other places. This is really what we do. We're not just a tax service for people to do their file yearly and such. Really, cost segregation is our bread and butter. It's what we know. It's what we have expertise in, and I think that gives us an advantage over others in the industry.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Good. So now, how long have you guys been involved in this incentive?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been here for just under a year about.
Just
So,
under a year,
yep, just under a year.
about the
Yep.
same? Okay.
Yeah, well, I've been involved with Centiv for almost 3 years now.
Oh, okay.
In capacities. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you then, Yaron, what changes have you seen over the past 3 years when it comes to this? And what trends do you see that may affect the business later on?
Yeah. So you mean what changes have we seen? So I think one of the big things that people constantly talk about is the concept of bonus depreciation, which is a big buzzword in our industry. Bonus depreciation, basically the concept is, for those that may not understand, when we go in there into a property and we reclassify a piece of the property, for example, as Zev said, flooring, right? So instead of depreciating the flooring over 27 and a half years, we depreciate it in 5 years. That's nice. However, what bonus depreciation allows us to do is not just take that from a 27 and a half year time span to a 5 year time span. It actually allows us to take much of it now in this year. And so the whole concept of bonus depreciation is changing because for the past couple of years, we had 100% bonus depreciation, where anything that fell into a short life bucket, you were able to take immediately now. And slowly it's been phasing down. So last year it was 80%. Now we're at 60%. Theoretically, next year it will be 40%. The trends that we see happening in the future, though, is this is something that everybody on both sides of the aisle, in terms of Democrat and Republican, have loved and been very favorable towards. And last year there was a bill that passed I believe it was the House, but not the Senate, that was reintroducing 100% bonus depreciation. It didn't pass this time, not because of the bonus depreciation. There were other parts of the bill that some people in the Senate had issues with. What we expect is that next year it'll be reintroduced in a slightly different capacity, and then we expect it to pass at that point, bringing that back as 100% bonus depreciation, so that many of us can benefit from that. If not 100% bonus depreciation, we do expect it to come back in some way, shape, or form, simply because it's always been something that's been favored and loved by everybody on all sides of the aisle. So yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I think if I read that bill correctly, that it was set up to make it retroactive to
Yes.
pick up the former years, so that someone could go back and take it formerly. But then it didn't pass the Senate because they can't just pass one bill. They got to put all this pork on with everything else, right? So it gets stuck in with everything. So hey, listen, if I'm talking to someone, how could I know that that person is the perfect referral for you?
Sure. So, I mean, the best way, obviously, if they're, a real estate owner, if they have income producing real estate, obviously that's going to be the biggest thing. Otherwise, let's say that, they have a lot of income coming in, right? They're, in need of write-offs, right? Generally that's, the best person to send to. So, I mean, it's really as simple as that, and we can get into far more detail, but those
Do
are
they
the
have
two
to
big
have a
things.
certain size portfolio for this to be effective? Or if they just own
No.
one single family home, is it going to be worth it?
Yeah, listen, if they have one income producing property, we're always happy to take a look at it and run an analysis for them. And, if it makes sense for them, we'll recommend that they move ahead and do it. If not, we'll just say, hey, listen, this may not be the right one, but in the future, maybe there is a opportunity. But yeah, there really is no specific size. We're willing to have a conversation with anybody, even if it's just for the purpose of educating them.
And this is good for regular homes, but it can be good for Airbnbs and apartment buildings, any kind of income producing property, right?
Yep, we've done car washes, we've done banks, we've done retail stores, we've done restaurants, hotels, offices, you name it.
All right, great. Well, tell us how, if someone wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way that they can get a hold of you?
Sure. So, I mean, when it comes to me, generally the best way to get a hold of me is via email or text message. Folks can reach me at Zev, Z-E-V as in Victor, .Randone. That's R-A-N as in Nancy, D-O-N-E as in Edward, at Centiv, C-E-N-T-I-V .tax. And they can also reach me at my direct phone number of 720-725 1468.
Yeah, and I'm just simply not yaron.pacht@centiv.tax. Or they can visit our website and they could fill out a simple form on the website if you want to pull up the website real quick.
Yep.
And yeah, they can just put in a little bit of information about their property. Literally just click is it showing up for you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they can just get a free estimate, click that, fill out a little bit of information about their property, and we'll get back to them within 48 hours with an analysis and let them know if this is something that can really help them out.
All right.
And our website is just centiv.tax.
All right. Sounds great.
Yep.
Yeah, and I know that Yaron, you're in Denver most of the time, right? But then
Yeah, I'm based here, and then we have an office out there in Tampa where you guys are based.
right,
Yeah.
Zev's in Tampa. So I
Yep.
know that you can usually meet Zev if you come to our Tuesday nights, second Tuesday of the month at Dave and Buster's, where we gather as the Business and Real Estate Professionals Network of Tampa. So invite you to come out there, meet Zev. Every now and then, Yaron is available and he'll show up when he's there. So guys, I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate taking time out of your day to tell us about your business. I enjoyed the interview. And hope to see you out there again live soon. Next 2 Tuesdays from today, actually.
Yeah, you'll see me there, Gary.
All right. Take care. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks, Gary.